Hello everyone, welcome back to Tittok, the mess that is my mind. Episode 13, lucky number. Maybe, not mine. Maybe it's yours. Certainly not mine. I don't really have a lucky number. Yeah, that was kind of corny, but I mean, if you've been listening for all 13 episodes, you probably know that I have a very corny sense of humor. Often it's dad jokes and just little comments that only me and a select few find really funny. I leave the funny business up to, the funnier people in my life. Not that I'm not funny, I'm just not the funniest. It's not what I set out to be, okay? This isn't a humor podcast. This isn't me being a comedian. This is me being manic, and basically it's just my journal every week that you get to hear me vocalize. It's my audio journal, okay? So it's really personal and all over the place, and yeah, but I love doing it, and I hope you love listening to it. I don't really have a lucky anything. I don't really, I've had a lot of good fortune, but luck is never really on my side. Maybe I should acquire a lucky number then. Maybe that's why I'm not lucky. Maybe it should be 13. All right, there we go. Lucky number 13. Here we go. My week sort of began with something that I hadn't done in way too long, and that was the first time in 10 years that I can remember going as long as I can without smoking weed. I'm ashamed to say I only made it 24 hours, but also I'm proud to say I made it 24 hours. That's a lot longer than I've attempted to do in a long time. Okay? And I did it. I successfully did 24 hours. It's the beginning, okay? It's been a decade of me smoking weed pretty well on the daily. Don't know how I feel about that, but if we don't like it, we can change it, because we have the power to create the life that we want for ourselves. And if you find yourself relating to me in any way, you might find this a little insightful. But I was inspired to attempt at least 24 hours. And next time, I know I can do 24 hours, so I'm going to strive for 48, and then 72, or maybe the whole week. Who knows? I don't want to quit smoking marijuana, because Monday just proved to me how beneficial it is. It also proved to me, though, how much I rely on it throughout the day and before doing certain tasks. And yeah, it just sort of goes along with me simplifying my life and focusing on what I can control. So I thought, let's do an experiment. Show yourself that you are fine without marijuana. Show yourself that you can go inwards and calm yourself down and do all the, give yourself those same benefits. It's a very powerful thing to be able to do. I mean, I'm going to be the most divine, powerful, ethereal, more so than I already am. I'm going to be totally unstoppable if I can conquer this addiction, if you will. So Monday was interesting. It was an emotional roller coaster. I started the day off on a really, really high note, no pun intended, sober note. And I ended the day off with a major adrenaline rush. Those of you who listened to last week's episode will know that I ordered off of Amazon, because where else are you going to get things these days? You can't go into Walmart because nothing is essential. Everything is blocked off. Can't even get a word search if your grandmother wants a word search. Can't get a giant piece of storage container, Tupperware. What are those big tote things called? I want to put my winter clothes away. I want to get more organized here, organize my space. And I can't even go to Walmart to get these things. Back to the point. Amazon, the place where we all do our shopping these days. Even though we're supposed to be shopping local, the only place that we can really shop is Amazon. What the fuck is going on? Mr. Government. Ordered them off Amazon, and it showed up as it does. It's super convenient. So that was sort of my treat for getting through my day. It was, I knew I wanted to do it. It's one thing to want to do it, it's the other thing to actually do it. So I had, all intention of piercing my ears, like without hesitation and just getting it over with, painless. I watched a few TikToks. I had done my research, okay? I was well versed in what I was about to do to myself. I had like my little pump up song ready, everything was sterilized, laid out in front of me. I knew I was going to quickly swap out the earrings that they came with, very low quality, with like a better, more higher quality earrings. So I put in like some higher quality studs right after, which I know might not have been the best idea, but they feel fine. Like, I don't think they're infected. They've been healing great thus far. Knock on wood. Knock, knock. Anyway, everything was sterilized, ready to go, had my pump up music on, went ahead and took a shot of tequila because although I wasn't smoking marijuana, I did have a few tiny little baby shots of tequila throughout the day to keep my spirits up. And the first one went well. I did it. I got it done and over with. It was pierced. It was switched. It was, the shock was over, okay? But I highly recommend, if you live alone and you don't have the option of doing this with somebody else or just having somebody else to do the second one, you don't put yourself in the same position that I did, because I didn't think I'd have an issue getting the second one done. But it took me 45 minutes to an hour to work up the courage and stop psyching myself out from getting the second one done. I kept looking in the mirror and I'm like, okay, next time the beat drops, just do it, no hesitation. But you're like staring at yourself in the mirror, making sure like, the hole lines up and you're going to pierce the right spot. And then you don't, like, me personally, I didn't want to look at my ear while it was happening. I wanted to sort of look away. So just the coordination of it all, and then I kept psyching myself out. Those of you that are queasy, you might not want to listen to this part here. But the second one, again, the first one went swimmingly. Second one, it got stuck halfway through. So I call my boyfriend and I'm like, okay, I can't exactly explain what's happening right now, but if I don't call you back in the next 2 minutes, it's because I have passed out and you need to call an ambulance because I have, again, passed out. My face turned white. I could see the beads of sweat forming on my forehead. And I just had to go into fight or flight mode. Like, I had no choice. I'm like, hey, you either, grow a set and push this thing through and get this over with, or you just sit here for the rest of your life with, this cheap earring and piece of plastic machinery in your ear. So obviously I didn't choose the latter. I went with the first one, and you just sort of, it was insane. I just had to poke it through, get it done. Everything was done. It was all amazing. And yeah, that's how I ended my Monday, my 24 hours of being sober. It was I'm really happy with how they turned out. They're pretty even. I would recommend it. I just, again, if you had somebody else to help you just like do it for you, to just get it over with, that's the route you should take, not the route of living alone, staring at yourself in the mirror and psyching yourself out and taking way longer and probably causing yourself more stress than needed. So that's my piece of advice on that. My little tolerance day. I kept taking little video diaries on my MacBook, which I haven't done in years. I thought that was really clever and smart of me. I really want to do some more. I mean, although I love venting to you guys, I really love just being able to spitball and get it out really quick. I know I've mentioned in the past journaling and how I like how the practice of journaling forces me to put more thought into it. It's a good exercise in me connecting with my brain and my thoughts and my words and my mouth and my hands and the whole piece of that. If that makes any sense, or maybe it just adds to the mania, who knows. But a really powerful practice that I love, but I also love ranting and venting, and even if it's just me talking on the phone with my grandmother, she always makes sure to have a snack close by when I call her, because it goes on and on and on. So I was on photo booth throughout the day, encouraging myself, showing myself the downsides, just venting, talking about it all, which I think was really helpful because it's being able to identify, like, okay, usually like after I go on a run before my shower, I'd like go and have a hit, so it was just like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Or before I would walk line, I would go have a hit, and it's like, okay, like I can enjoy this walk just, just fine. Put some music on, and, it's whatever. Continue to live life. You don't have to keep resorting back to this, like, comfortable routine that I love, but I don't have to do. Why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep feeling obligated? Why does it keep feeling so routine? Because I keep doing it day in and day out. So until I stop doing it, until I start enjoying the high that is being sober, because when you've been high for so long, it's not like you're smoking to get high. I mean, you don't really get high at a certain point. You almost smoke to feel like you're used to feeling. So it's like a whole new high, if you will, on its own when you're sober, when you're so used to being high for so long. So it's, it was emotional. There were many tears, there were smiles, there were, it was a day of hysterics. But, and I could have fallen asleep without it. But I think it was just the adrenaline rush of having pierced my ears at like 11 o'clock at night. I wanted to go and smoke a cigarette, which I hadn't done all day. Because I had known, like, every single time I do that, I want to take a hit right after. I felt really, really anxious, actually, after having had a smoke, so I really needed to get that out of my system. I took a hit, I went to bed, it was all fine and dandy. But yeah, next time I do this, I will be not smoking anything. But I think it was just a good exercise in knowing I can do it, knowing I can go longer next time, knowing that I'm just capable of doing whatever I set my mind out to. It's always nice to challenge yourself with something, okay? So, not that you have to listen to me, but maybe challenge yourself with something you've been putting off or fearing, or something you just really don't want to do. Challenge yourself to get it done and try it, Like, I don't want to be, 30 years old, 35 years old, still relying on marijuana on a daily basis. I want to travel the world. I want to travel to parts of the world where you won't be able to get marijuana. I want to do all these things, and if it doesn't relate to cannabis, I don't want to have to say no, which I've found myself doing in the past. So anyway, no limitations. I mean, because there's only the ones that you put on yourself, right? The limitations that you put on yourself are probably easily removable. You just have to have the inner confidence, courage, ability, and just do it. Just get it done. Just do it. Like Nike says. Sponsored by my new sports bra and running shoes. Just do it. I wish. Something sad I found out this week is that my old dance studio is closing. I haven't been to that dance studio in over 10 years, but it was such an integral piece of my childhood. And when I found out that it was closing, I went down memory lane and I got so nostalgic, feeling all the feels about just being a young girl in dance. I mean, if any of us have, even grew up playing a sport, or if it was dance for you, how close you get to, your peers and your teachers. And, that was my routine for so long. After school, I'd get ready, go to dance. On the weekends, wake up, go to dance. In the summertime, I didn't have dance, but there was always the build-up to, like, the year-end show or different recitals throughout. I remember, like, my dance studio, we used to do such cool things throughout the community. I remember the Children's Museum in Kitchener-Waterloo, they had a David Bowie exhibit and an Andy Warhol exhibit. But if you know anything about Andy Warhol, David Bowie, there's a connection there. So we did a dance to a song, and got to perform at the opening of the Andy Warhol exhibit. So super cool, and yeah, I really miss just creating and being a free child. I mean, what can I do? Go back in time and do that? Not necessarily, but I just miss it. The feeling of being taken back to that part of my youth really had me questioning, okay, like how can I get back to dancing? Just nice reflecting on that time in my childhood. I danced for so long, all genres. And that studio really meant a lot to me. I actually was able to do some assistant dance teaching there. I remember, little tap dancers and little ballerinas. I got to help them, hip hop, jazz. I got to help them learn their love of dance, support them in whatever they needed. And then I, went on to do other creative things when I sort of outgrew, dance. Not that I don't love dancing, I never outgrew the love of dance, but it was just time for me and the dance studio to go our separate ways. And now I'm just here in my little apartment with my dance pole, learning pole dance via YouTube tutorials. So, yeah, nonetheless, it was such an integral part of my childhood, and art at a young age is so important. I was always in drama camp or doing something creative, and it plays such a huge part in who I am today. And I'm so thankful that I have all these creative outlets to turn to, especially in a time like, a global pandemic when everything, creative and fun feels like it's sort of being taken away from us in Ontario. I've really been proud of myself that I've turned my apartment into like this little fun place where I get to do all the art that I love making, and including podcasting. So anyways, I also want to clarify something I said in last week's episode. Also a little update on this fact as well. I said that Ontario had just taken away paid sick days. It didn't just happen. I want to clarify that it had been like that since the beginning of the pandemic. But in some lighter news, our stinky premier has decided to change that. I don't exactly know what it is now. Let me quickly look that up. I think it's like up to $200 people can claim. Let's just get right to the facts here. Ontario paid sick days. Ontario officially approves paid sick days program. Opposition calls it pitifully inadequate. Well, yeah, probably because it is pitifully inadequate. Give Ontarians what we're entitled to. So employees using these paid sick days will receive up to $200 per day. Business owners will be reimbursed through the Workplace Safety Insurance Board for a total of $600 for all 3 days. I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what anything means. I don't really know the logic behind anything that is happening to our society anymore. All I know is I just wanted to clarify that little fact that I dropped last week. So there's that. I, just like many of us, spend way too much time on TikTok. And in line with me making food for my dog, because I am a dog chef now, I have been recommended to use rice water. I don't know if you've made it to the rice water hair part of TikTok, but if you have to make rice for your dog and you're not saving the water from the rice to put as a mask in your hair throughout the week, you're doing it all wrong. Stop what you're doing right now, go make a pot of rice and save the water from the rice. Put it in your hair, and I'm letting you know it will change everything. I've only done the treatment twice. I think that my hair has grown like instantly. As soon as you put it in, as soon as this treatment is applied to your hair immediately starts growing. Probably not. Maybe it's just a placebo effect, but my hair has never been softer, shinier, more thicker, and it's so good. You have to try it, guys. It seems intimidating when you look, different tutorials up online, but it's really not. You just have to strain it a couple times and then let it sit for a few days. I think I let mine sit in the fridge for honestly 4 or 5 days before I used it. But yeah, refrigerate it, use it up, and thank me later. Truthfully, I don't know how I've gone so long without two things. A second ear piercing hole, because it's a fucking vibe. I just feel like my jewelry game is in a whole nother league now. I've switched lanes. My jewelry game has leveled up. Each week we're leveling up in some regard, whether it's what we feed our dog or the jewelry that we put on our body. Something else I didn't know that I needed in my life until now was Kim Crawford Rosé. Those of you watching on YouTube will see that it's empty. I've enjoyed that bottle of rosé over the course of 2 days. Last night I made a TikTok of me pole dancing to a Cher and Grimes remix of Do You Believe? So there's that. No, I was at the LCBO. I saw, and for those that don't know what the LCBO is, that's where us Canadians go to buy our alcohol. But anyway, Kim Crawford, Rosé, New Zealand 2019. It's a cute little bottle. It makes me feel like a housewife when I drink it. I feel like that's what all the housewives drink. Probably not. I don't know where I have this association of me thinking that Kim Crawford is just like the most popular rosé out there. I did a Google search and I'm like, I have no idea why this is a popular rosé. Anyways, I like it. It's fun to drink. It's I'm not usually a rosé girl, but we love it. We love a rosé. It's summertime. Not really, but almost. It was like 2 degrees today. Horrible weather. 1 week it's amazing and I order a bunch of matching sets, and then the next week it's 2 degrees and I can't wear them unless I'm indoors recording a podcast. But I'm not complaining. Do you hear anyone complaining? I don't. Remember when I used to talk about the 4 Agreements, the book I was reading? Well, I'm nearing the end, so a future episode will be me dissecting this incredible book, The 4 Agreements. I've mentioned it before. I will continue to mention it over and over again. It's a life-changing piece of literature written by Don Miguel Ruiz. You don't really need to know much more in life other than these 4 things, guys. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. The first one's the hardest one. The rest of them are all related to the first one, but I guarantee you, one of them is always do your best. So if you at least do the last one in regards to the top 3, in regards to the 3 above, you're gonna be getting somewhere good, okay? I swear by this book. I have yet to put what it teaches you into practice. It's really, really hard for me. And the fact that I just said it's really, really hard for me proves that I'm not doing very well at putting it into practice. I cannot wait, because I have the inner ability to conquer the teachings in this book, I cannot wait to prove to myself that I have learned the lessons and manifested those teachings into my reality based on the actions that I portray, based on how I speak to myself, how I speak to the ones that I love, based on how I let go of what does not serve me, so on and so forth. That was a little bit more positive. Okay. But no, I want to refer back to a passage that I thought was relevant to my stint with being sober and not smoking cannabis. In the past, I've spoken about needing anger management, needing to, not be so reactive and angry and take things so personally and close to me. And it's learning how to talk to yourself in a positive way really can change your whole outer perspective on the world and how you view yourself and different things. But during my No Cannabis Monday, this past Monday, I reread this passage over, and I thought, like, wow, I really resonate with this piece right here, right now. And it sort of speaks to, how your life is a movie and how you're the producer and the director and main character and all of the sorts. And the way that you see that movie is according to the agreements that you have made with your life. Your point of view is something personal to you. It is no one's truth but yours. And then it goes on to say, so if you get mad at someone, know you're dealing with yourself. They are the excuse for you to get mad, and you get mad because you are afraid, because you are dealing with fear. If you are not afraid, there is no way you will get mad at them. If you are not afraid, there is no way you will hate them. If you are not afraid, there is no way you will be jealous or sad. If you live without fear, if you love, there is no place for any of those emotions. If you don't feel any of those emotions, it is logical that you will feel good. When you feel good, everything around you is good. When everything around you is great, everything makes you happy. You're loving everything that is around you because you're loving yourself, because you like the way you are, because you are content with you, because you are happy with your life. You're happy with the movie that you are producing, happy with your agreements with life. You are at peace. You are happy. You live in that state of bliss where everything is so wonderful and everything is so beautiful. In that state of bliss, you're making love all the time with everything that you perceive. Whatever people do, feel, think, or say, don't take it personally. If they tell you how wonderful you are, they're not saying that because of you. You know how wonderful. It's not necessary to believe other people who tell you that you are wonderful. Don't take anything personally. Even if someone got a gun and shot you in the head, it was nothing personal. Even at that extreme. I just got goosebumps reading that over again. Because that one hits a little close to home, the end of that chapter. It does hit quite close to home. Because that's how my parents passed away, right? And yeah, some humor in that. Nothing personal. My dad, it was nothing personal with his love of his life, my mother. It was shit he was dealing with inside. Yeah. And sorry to have brought it down at the end there, but more or less what I'm trying to say here is I love marijuana, I love cannabis, but I have let attachments, comfortability, routine, I have really gotten just so intertwined with that I fear leaving that, and I fear those limitations, like leaving those limitations that I have put on myself. It's woven into me, right? These attachment issues and these different limitations, as I might call them. But I do have the power and the ability to grow from them and not view them as limitations and prove to myself that I'm not limited by them. You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you, and then you're trapped in that person's perception. So, a lot of the times, if someone was like, "Oh, you're stupid," if someone were to tell me, "Oh, you're stupid," in my head, I'd be like, "No, I'm not." And I actually wouldn't be offended because I don't think I'm stupid. If someone were to call me something that was triggering, something, nothing's really coming to mind right now, but if someone were to call me something triggering that maybe I have an insecurity about, if someone were to, I might take it personally. So you have to do the practice, and you have to do the work to, and it's not going to be a one and done. And I'm not saying you got to go out and seek, you got to get people to roast you and get better at like taking, criticism. That's not what it is. It's just doing that inner work to love yourself, like truly, regardless of what people are going to say or think, or if they're going to spread lies, or not give people context, or if people want to speak on your relationship when they shouldn't be. Let it go. Let it be. Don't take it personally. Don't let it weigh you down. Don't let it steal your shine, dull your light. Fuck that. Fuck that. Life is too short. Don't take it personally. Life is too short. Somebody could come and shoot you in the head. That's just the reality of things. But even then, don't take it personally. I've had people that claim to love me speak on our relationship on a public platform and make me look like a fool. I've taken it personally in the past. No more. Fuck that. Leaving that shit in the past. Take that shit, I used to be jealous. I used to take shit personally. But I'm choosing to grow from that. Choosing to be the better version of myself who doesn't give a shit and take things personally. Because I would rather just not. Seems nice. I'll keep you updated on that. I don't know. I don't really want to go. I feel like I could keep talking to you guys. There's some days when I sit down and I get into the flow of things. And there's other days when I'm just like, ugh, people don't want to hear this shit that I have to say. And I am hesitating to sort of get into more personal stories, but I do want to. And I really want to challenge myself to, I would love to hear any of your feedback or questions. Don't forget, guys, if you have questions for me, or if you have any ideas, or if you just want to, talk to me or reach out, I'm here for whoever wants to talk. I love listening. I love getting to know people and just talking about life and how twisted it is. So, you can find me at the Tittok Pod Instagram. We have a Facebook page if you want to connect with me on there. We have a YouTube channel. And of course, you can listen on all podcast platforms, whichever one is your favorite. Don't forget to subscribe and rate, give us a thumbs up, all of the things that help me grow and help me reach a bunch of more people that could really use this voice in their ear. Please interact on all socials. Give me comments, feedback. I just want to make this enjoyable for you to listen to. And, let's make this grow. Share it with your friends. Or if you like a certain part of the podcast, don't be afraid to take a little audio clip or a video clip and share it on TikTok or on your Instagram and tag me. Tag Tittok. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. All the best. And I can't wait to talk with you next time. Peace and love. Mwah.